So my point was that I've just wanted to challenge you with why we continue to talk about female, male roles within the digital industry. While obviously the leadership of all big companies is looking for the pearls within the teams, those talented, well-equipped, ambitious women, to promote them and to take leadership roles. And my answer as someone who has spent 25 years in the digital economy is that the challenge is within us women, and it is high time we to overcome those invisible barriers that prevents us to move ahead and to grow within our careers, ambitious, and to really give the power of the voice inside us on what are our wishes, our dreams, if you want, professionally and personally, of course, instead of following certain limitations. But if we look the big trend in the world, it is also obvious that in the upcoming age of automation, we have, of course, opportunities for many new jobs, for really expanding the digital-based economy. And honestly, every economy will be digital and is already more or less digital in the future. But also we are hearing also from the analysts that hand to hand with this, the gap between men and women in this new world will not diminish, but will even grow, because of the fact that more and more roles that are coded or where women participate in the digital production will be taken by robots, by chatbots, and if we don't do something today, we may face a new wave, if you want, of a divide and deepening of the differences that anyway exist. And this is what I want to discuss with Alex Gindeva tonight, because I personally don't believe that this is the case, and I know that she's the one that can also, through her experience and vision, can give us extra arguments. What is the role of women in this future world and in this future digital society? I am intrigued by leaving Alex to introduce herself, and she will introduce herself throughout our discussion. But I will only send one sentence about her. She's head of Global Delivery Hub of Experian Digital Analytics since April last year. And she's responsible for the delivery of Experian Decision Analytics solutions across all Experian regions globally, with a focus on cloud solutions. And because of these cloud solutions, because everything will become cloud, IDC was predicting that in 3 years from now, 70% of the business will go on the cloud platforms. So the experience in the world will have even bigger importance and weight. And we have tonight the privilege to hear it from someone who is managing such a hub, and not only for Bulgaria, not only for the region, but in a global basis, which makes the context for our discussion that will zoom more into women later on even more relevant. Alex, I'm really very pleased to have you as the special guest and my personal guest during the She in a Shell event tonight. And I want to start with where I practically finished with the introduction. You are running this global delivery hub of the experience decision analytics with the responsibility for the smooth operation of the cloud solutions across all experience regions globally. Why you were chosen to the role? Is this this might be a cliche, but many people think that men do better in such an important roles. But tell us why women?
So first of all, let me say thank you for having me, and thanks to the great audience we have today on the call. So really interesting question about why I was chosen. Probably I could answer the question if it was me choosing, but I think the best answer to that is because I believe I was the right choice, right? And to elaborate a little bit more on that, what actually happened is I came to kind of inherit or to change in the leadership of the team a male colleague, right? So the whole process was kind of about introducing change, and equally we knew we had to step into the cloud future, and we knew we had to operate differently. We knew we had to start thinking about things from a different perspective, and we knew we had to be flexible to be able to smoothly operate in the new cloud reality, in the new cloud future, and kind of be ready to prepare for what's right for our customers. So I think it was only a natural choice to go with something that can change the status quo. And I think it's really important, and I think it's also really important that's also something, one of the arguments I think we might want to elaborate a little bit more throughout the conversation, that at some point people who don't necessarily always have massive amounts of kind of track record doing things in a certain way are a better choice for taking an organization or a team towards the future, right? Because when you're new, when you're looking from a fresh perspective, then you can notice things, and you notice when something hasn't been done in the best way possible, and you can identify opportunities just because of the fresh perspective you've had on things. That's kind of one of the perspectives. I think the other one is also related to the fact that you just need to select the right person for the role. And to be honest, I'm convinced that it was never a female-male choice. It was about who's right for the job, who's right for the role. And I think that's how it should be. If we really want to be unbiased, we want to make sure we're selecting the right individuals for the roles. We're not giving it to someone because it's a woman or it's a man, but because they have the right perspective, the right focus, the right way of looking at things that will take the organization or a team to the next level. So I think that's the right answer. And in all honesty, I think at some point we need to appreciate, because the conversation is about career in tech, and do you need to have that background in order to be successful? At some point, it's an evolution and a step forward you need to make that takes you over and above the technicalities of things, and then just the analytical mind and reasoning and common sense are things that become much more important. I can't hear you though. You're probably on mute. I still can't hear you.
Yes, maybe I'll manage the mute unmute possibly myself, because always there is an invisible hand in the background that is deciding what you do in life. But that's of course a joke. My comment was related to the fact that you especially refer to the fresh perspective. And I really believe that this is very, very critical and important component that women not always understand quite well, because very often, because the fact is that there are more men in the IT industry, women try to look like men instead of keeping their authenticity. And to be authentic in the professional and also in the private life, there is no difference, opens much bigger doors, because that's where you are strong.
Yep.
And but I want to go a little bit into this cloud arena where you are professional, and just to provoke you, cloud systems are heavy engineering constructs, no question about this. Do you personally have engineering background? And from your experience, how important are the engineering skills for securing a reliable operation of those complex cloud-based systems, and not only cloud-based, robotics and every more complex system is of course requiring an engineering capacity.
Yeah, so to take these things in order, I do not come from engineering background. I come from a kind of totally different as it gets background. I come from a linguistics background, from a national security studies background, and management background, because I have a kind of PhD in that. So none of that is related to engineering. And I don't think that this has, so I think background becomes a blocker only if you allow it to, and only if you decide it to be a blocker, right? So it's totally up to each and every individual to define their own limits. So something that probably was specific about me is that I never thought about this as a limitation, and I never thought about this as a blocker to me entering a new sphere or a new industry like the IT industry was at the time. And I think actually that people who come from different backgrounds, that's not necessarily engineering, actually can give lots of benefits to the kind of purely technical area. And since you were mentioning the cloud as such, and it being a heavy engineering construct, that's all fair enough, right? But you don't have to know necessarily the nuts and bolts of how things operate to be able to run a team that does something, or to be able to contribute to a team that does something. We need to look at things more broader. If you take a company that operates in the IT industry, it doesn't only have developers, right? It has all sorts of teams. It has all sorts of people who contribute to this operation. So in one way or another, we can't be limited just by people who come from this engineering backgrounds. We need to rely on a wider pool and make sure we're able to take what's good from different backgrounds. No, I don't think it's been a kind of obviously critical thing to know, to be able to run such a team, and I still don't think it is. I strongly believe in how to put it, common sense, if you wish, and in people actually being able to analyze and find patterns in their environment and be able to take what they've learned in one area into the other area they operate. And I think that's what's been kind of my strong side, was to be able to take concepts from things I've seen before and integrate them into my current work. And I think that's been one of the biggest value adds. Because we need to face it, people who are kind of strongly engineering, they are probably not so strong in other areas, and we always need a combination. We can't go with just one. We need to have a mix.
Actually, just to support what you said, I have a friend, he's an owner of Bulgarian software company. And as a give back to the community, they organized an academy for software skills. And this is happening on a yearly basis. And there are all type of people that are joining. So he was sharing with me proudly that policemen and artists became the best graduates of the last year, and this was mainly because of the fact that they had already a different framework of thinking and interpreting world, and upgrading this to the with the specific software skills. This added a big value, and I think that the engagement of women on equal basis and amount within the team or management level is adding a different management perspective to the team. I know it from my own experience. So can you share your view around the balanced teams, not only on a C-level management layer, but also within the operational teams? What is, based on your experience, the advantage or disadvantage to have men, women constructions in the team, and how is in your company?
Yeah, that's a great one. I was actually looking at the most recent stats for both Experian and my team this morning, and we're actually pretty balanced. First of all, as an organization, we have a like 49-51% male-female ratio in the company overall, which is kind of pretty balanced. Of course, that obviously that ignores seniority levels, but it's indeed pretty balanced. But if we zoom in actually on my team, and again, keep in mind that my team is actually pretty. They are pretty technical. They're actually marrying the technical side of things and the business side of things, so they can actually add value to our customers. But indeed, they're doing pretty technical things. And in reality, I have more women than men in my team. And my management team has a female-male ratio of 2 to 1. So I have 4 women and 2 men in my management team. Again, this was never a necessarily purposeful strategy of let's have more women. It's been a strategy of let's have the right people to do the job. Again, I think if we're really kind of talking on biased decision making, then that should be the approach. But another thing that I think is very special, and I'm really proud of my team, is the fact that we actually have people from various different backgrounds. So again, we're a team who does pretty technical stuff. We configure software, we deploy it on the cloud, we do a whole bunch of things. But I actually have people from banking backgrounds, from financial backgrounds, from, if you wish, design engineering background, so kind of those people who design how the houses should look like. So not an architect, but actually the planning and the calculation side of things. So really very, very different backgrounds. I have people who come from totally different areas of life that have decided to change career. And there are people who are ready to take that unconventional step and bring the value they have with them to our world. And I think this is the side this is the thing that's really special to the team. And I think that's the winning combo that we should be looking at kind of more widely. And that's also an answer to the topic you brought up earlier in the conversation about automation and how that's going to impact the labor market, and how certain jobs will be automated or partially automated, and how that's going to impact men and women. And it's going to impact men and women alike. And I think we just need to be really flexible and really appreciate the value that different perspectives bring, and that when we bring them together, it's actually adding a lot of value. And interestingly, I was asking some people on my team today about actually those ones who were coming from different backgrounds. I was asking them, tell me, what do you think your previous job, your previous occupation helped you when you joined us as a company? How is that valuable? And we're seeing that actually it helps them a lot with communication, with knowing how to deal with customers, with knowing how to analyze things, with finding logical gaps in the software or how systems operate. And this is really invaluable to the business, because if you take someone who's really strong technically, from strong engineering background, and you ask them to do something that's business related, they often lack that perspective. So we've been really happy to have this both and to be able to mix them together, and I think that's a winning combo.
But how we can communicate this in a broader basis, because many people relate the cloud companies like yours or engineering companies specifically with heavy techie engineering skills and jobs, and they even don't consider your perspective as a manager, which I'm sure is shared by many leaders in the industry. How we can spread the news that is not anymore and is not at all only about the people that code or people that have this engineering background, but it's about more. It is about how you program the future world, because that's what practically we are doing, using digital technology as a platform to do everything else in life.
I think there's a couple. So obviously, kind of giving visibility to the good examples and showing why they work and how they work better is really important. Also, making it really clear that technology doesn't exist for the sake of technology itself, and it exists in order to help people and add value to someone is also really important, right? So we don't have clouds because of this, we like clouds, right? Or because we like Jenkins pipelines and because it's just all too fancy. Those things exist because someone needs something at the end that serves a purpose. So we inevitably need people who understand the purpose, who understand what's the requirement, if you wish, that drives all of this technology and how it helps someone. So it's the technology cannot exist in isolation of kind of the real world and of those people who are consuming it. So we need to give that probably more visibility. We also need to probably increase the level of visibility we have of the impact and also of the impact, if you wish, of making either the wrong technology decisions, but from another perspective, how doing things in isolation actually impacts lives, right? Take an example with AI or facial recognition technology. We know that things work better on some individuals because they were designed and built and programmed by like white men, if you wish. So it works best on white men. It doesn't it doesn't do facial recognition on women so good. So we need to appreciate that. We need that we need clear visibility and a clear understanding of why things exist, and help people join the dots. And that it's not just about technology. It's about all of us consuming it, and that we need to play an active role in designing this whole ecosystem.
Well, that's much bigger topic, but as you provoke me, I just want to go a little bit deeper into this because we speak, and eventually the 50 people that follow us at the moment, they also are knowledgeable about those trends, and they just want to take advantage of the experience of professionals. But in the same time, we have lots of fears and also manipulations that are spread outside of this bubble, if you want, of digitally literate, digital enthusiasts. They prevent more people to understand, to associate themselves, and also in the artificial intelligence prototypes, they eventually are missing because they never has been within the scheme of design, within the teams of really looking into the specifics and how we can overcome this division that is objective. This has nothing to do with men, women, prejudices. This has to do with the social differences in the society that open different type of gap.
Yeah, obviously there's lots of different gaps that we need to overcome. I think it's largely a big role that the business has to play in overcoming those. again, I think that the best way to do that is obviously through examples, right? Because examples are the best way how you can show that certain things work and other things don't work, and to show why in certain points of time you need to change, and you need to do things differently. It's also about our overall understanding and appreciation of the result of doing things in a certain way, right? I think we, as a society, and all of us individually as well, we need to play an active role in deciding how we want our future to look like. So it means understanding that if we leave things operating the way they are at a certain point in time, it means that we're sort of victimizing, we're not playing an active role in how our environment and our future operates. So it's probably those two things. It's giving the positive examples of what it means, probably sometimes even the negative examples of when things don't work properly, and really articulating very clearly that the choices we make today actually affect the way our future will work. And we need to be very, very clear about this with our society and with everyone around us.
Just to expand on what you said, I think time requires not only within our close circles, like within our teams and within our companies, we to spread this culture of participation, of really thinking throughout the categories of the impact and the trace that you leave, but also people that are equipped with the knowledges for the future, with the skills for the future, to go out and to contribute back and to really help those that eventually are not yet up to the speed, to overcome this digital divide, because it is about our joint future. And just referring to the Alex's comment, if we want to feel equally comfortable within the artificial and virtual reality, and within the our reality, where we live real reality, if I may use this term, then we should, with the professionals, the people with the knowledge, we should find a way to bring as much more people to this virtual world, so that they are equipped with this knowledge, and respectively artificial intelligence also to consider them in accordance to be able to program them. Yeah, that's what.
I think actually business has a big role to play in this in the entire transformation, because the business is actually the area that needs things to happen sooner. And we have, like the tech industry or whatever, we have a certain need now to either to have more people who work in the area, or have more skills, or or have more capacity kind of widely with people who know how to do certain things. So this is obviously kind of posing a big importance again on the industry altogether, because we are inevitably the ones that will be driving a lot of this. Obviously, there will be the government side and the large corporations and all of that, but we're the ones who need to see change now or quicker, because of the obvious environment in which we operate. Yeah, and I think that this will give us a good starting point to then influence the society on a larger scale, because we will hopefully have solved some of these things for ourselves already.
Well, I totally agree with you, and would be interesting to continue this dialogue and to hear how you imagine this to happen in practical terms. Because on one hand, there is a competition for a talent. On the other hand, the society, the business first needs top experts. How you, for example, train people, select people, train people, grow people, engage them. Let's look into the practical side of it.
I think the winning players ultimately and very soon will become actually those who have the best, most efficient and most flexible programs and approaches to train and upskill people, right? Because again, if you look at the numbers, what we're expecting in terms of growth and what we're expecting in terms of kind of supply of people who are readily able to perform certain jobs will be kind of in massive disbalance. I think also the current situation with people losing their jobs kind of due to other reasons. Let's not focus on that now. But people there's certain dynamic currently as well, and we will see that indeed this adult learning, effective training programs, effective upskilling, and being able to take people from A to Z in the best, most effective way that's speedy and is able to answer business demand. Those will be the winning players on the market. I'm not sure I have the silver bullet yet. Probably I'd be somewhere else now having different conversations if I had it, but I think this is what all companies need to be thinking about. How do we upskill? How do we train? How are we able to help our people be as flexible as they can be to learn effectively and quickly?
Do you see this reordering in the world because of the digital connectedness, because of the technology's advancement, because of the COVID that obviously is challenging what we are doing the way we've been doing it before, is also repositioning the men and women roles in the business and also in the society. What is your opinion on this?
Well, I think it's definitely an opportunity. I think it depends on us and on every player on the market to be able to use it wisely. Again, there's strong demand currently for talent, and we know that it's the demand is much greater than the supply. We can actively use that to help bridge gaps, or we may not. So I think it's up to us and to every leader of every organization to use this as an opportunity to solve for the most imminent problems, and to understand actually the role they're playing, to understand that the choices they make on a daily basis actually have a strong impact on how our society will work and will look like 5, 10, 20 years from now. So our choices today are the choices that define our future, and we need to be very conscious of that.
Yeah, actually, question is to whom we talk. Do we talk to the girls? Do we talk to their boyfriends that eventually naturally expected that this smart, intelligent girl that they have next to them will very often be the great cooker, the absolutely fantastic mom, and of course will make eventually a career and be an excellent lover. So we should extend this dialogue much broader, in my view, in the society, and beyond the capacity and reach of one company or a couple of companies that obviously are offering portfolio of trainings, development opportunities that are attractive for both women and men. So it is always interesting topic how we can really dig deeper into prejudices, into what comes from the family, what comes from the environment as an unset limitation that, of course, results into self setting the borders for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's largely about how we. It's largely about the boundaries that we put out for ourselves, right? We can talk about young girls, young people, young women, and how we, as parents of the next generation, build them up. But let's not forget that there's a massive amount of people who are between their, I don't know, 20s and like 60s, which are the kind of the active workforce, and they're making certain choices every day. And we need to, I think we need to talk about much more about the fact that the only limitations are the limitations that we put to ourselves again. And to be able to explain to all of those people, men, women, people from kind of different, more disadvantaged groups, that opportunities are out there for them to take them. And we just need to ignore that small voice in our head that tells us that we're not good enough, or we're not prepared, or we don't have the skills, or we don't have X, Y, and Z, and understand that the world is different, and understand that we need to reach for those opportunities and grab them, or at least say our voice and say that, hey, I want to give it a try. And I'm ready to do what's necessary to be able to be out there and have active conversations and make active choices for ourselves for how we want to change our future, and whether we want to be in an active position or we want to be victims of the society, of our families, or whatever. So it's about that conversation and that dialogue, that we are in charge of our destinies and what happens to us. And really being very clear that when you're 60, 70, or 80, you'll only be sorry about the not trying. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most thankful to the way I was raised, that I was always feeling empowered to try things. And even if you fail, then you know you've tried and you failed, but not being scared to try. And knowing what you want, I think, is also really important. And if you have to confront people and explain to your family or your close ones that making a certain change is something that's important to you, that's the type of dialogue I think we need to have. Because just the group of people we have in a kind of active age that's making choices every day is just so massive.
That's true, but unless you don't have a critical mass of people that are in a way a supportive group for a change, for rethinking certain established already norms, this is becoming more challenging. I myself became general manager in the age of 26, and always in my life I've been thinking that I have the whole freedom to choose what I want, to follow it, to make mistakes, to learn, to grow, but really this not necessarily is the always the case, and now to really encourage this large group of people. We are not talking about individual cases, but a whole generation or two generations that needs to shift the mindset from being analog to becoming a little bit more digital, to become much more flexible, that not necessarily this is 8 to 5 type of life, but it is a new space where you have much more choices, and you can personalize, if you want, your both professional and private life. This that's something that requires communities that can stimulate this thinking, and, as you said a couple of times, champions, role models that obviously people can associate themselves with. But before opening, because I'm conscious with the time, for a couple of questions, because we have, as I said, about 50 people that follow us. I just want to ask you how you overcome, because everybody has kind of internal hesitations, maybe something that stays from these general, let's say, background perceptions. How you do it, how you develop yourself, both personally, but also in terms of self-motivation and this change and overcoming the limitations by trying new things, and what you've described as your way.
Yeah, so my approach and what works for me has been to consider myself as, how to put it, the product of myself, or as something that I can actively model the way I want. Right, so it starts with the fact that you can be what you want to be. You need to have the awareness of the end state and the ultimate goal, or at least the trajectory that you want to follow. So I think that this is ultimately the understanding that you're not set in stone. You can model yourself the way you want to is a critical starting point. Then I'm a very big fan of all types of kind of self-awareness things, meditation, exercise. So everything that can help you through that journey, can help you build your confidence, can help you feel better in your own skin. I think it's definitely very important. I think we need to be very selfish around our own time, and I think at some point also, regardless, again, men, women, whatever, at some point you need to say that in order for you to be able to help others, you need to focus on yourself first. And I think this also has been a revelation for me personally to appreciate the fact that I'm no use for my children, for my husband, for my parents, or for anyone in my community if I'm tired, if I'm being grumpy, if I don't feel good in my own skin, and that I need to selfishly prioritize me time ahead of anything else. So this can be any type of activity that you feel good doing. It can be, it should be self-awareness, it should be meditation, you can do yoga or fitness or whatever you feel like, but I think really selfish in a good way is really, really important.
Well, let's be selfish in a good way. And I think that you send a very, very important message at the end, because not always people, and especially women, are seeing themselves as first priority, but obviously the children, the career, the family responsibility very often goes ahead, and the self me time and me space stay small, and this creates these balances.
You know what they tell you on the plane when you board a plane? We haven't been boarding planes for a long time now, but you know what they tell you in the case of emergency: put your own mask first, and then help the person next to you.
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing in life. Put your own oxygen mask first. Make sure you're able to operate properly in a good way, and then you'll be in the best shape ever to help the world around you and rebuild it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving this very good example so that the association can be absolutely clear. Honestly, our reserve time is over, but I would open, it took longer. It was very interesting discussion. The plan was not to speak with Alex between ourselves only. So if there are 1-2 questions, of course, we'll be happy to handle them, and I'm sure Alex will be addressing them with a pleasure. So don't hesitate, raise hands, send it in chat if you want, or in the Facebook chat box, and let's see if this interesting discussion has provoked you to think in a different way for what you're doing today. Actually, we have, Alex, one question. Have COVID-19 changed the labor market in the tech industry? That's a question from Marin Marinov.
Yeah, if I answer this kind of more locally first, then it has actually created additional dynamic, and we can probably, everyone who's even remotely been connected to the industry can see that and can appreciate that. So we've seen massive growth, not just in Bulgaria, but kind of worldwide in the IT sector, and that's also one of the things that are creating that demand supply disbalance that we talked throughout the session, and the additional need for more competencies and more capacity in the area. I think people have this also changed the perspective of people, and it also creates more. It pushes companies to operate differently. Right? We had this conversation today with my management team that basically doesn't, in the current situation, it doesn't matter if someone works for Experian or for any other company, technically, because they work from home in front of their computer. So the way companies need to operate now is that their value proposition towards their people needs to change, and we need to be very cautious of that.
I think that we'll see in the near future many new processes and changes related to COVID that are not only serving the the corporation needs, but also will address these new challenges for people spending in front of the computer 10-12 hours, which has other type of effects and consequences. So Alex, our time is over, and I don't see in the chat new question, but I'm extremely motivated to having this discussion with you, and allow myself to invite you for a live meeting once this is possible, and where we will have a chance really to create this circle with the people, not virtually, but face to face, and to continue this dialogue. So thank you for being in the show, the big she in the show, and I really wish you as a leader to easily transform the wisdom of your understanding how system is changing into very practical label type of processes that will serve not only the needs of your team, but the whole corporation, why not the industry. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks to everyone who joined the discussion. I hope it was useful.